In this movie, we're going to add our clouds to our composition. And the first step is to go ahead and switch to the rectangular marquee tool, which you get by pressing the M key. And then make sure the clouds layer is active, and then right-click inside the image window and choose Duplicate Layer. And then I'll go ahead and change my document to Sky Full of Stars, which is what I've called my progress file, and I'll click OK. And now I'll go ahead and switch back to that image. Now, assuming you selected the Mars layer a few movies ago, then the clouds layer is going to appear in front of Mars, which is exactly what we want. All right, now I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to zoom out even more, actually. I want you to see that this clouds layer is much wider than the canvas. And you can confirm that by pressing the Control key or the Command key on the Mac and clicking on the thumbnail for that clouds layer. And so notice it extends off the right side of the canvas. So in other words, Photoshop has automatically aligned this layer to the top left corner of the canvas. What I want to do is center align the sky to the canvas. So I'm going to go up to the Select menu and choose All, or you can just press Control A or Command A on a Mac. And that will serve as our base selection for the alignment. And now I'll go ahead and switch back to the Move tool, which you can get by pressing the V key. And then I'll go to the second group of Align icons and click on this middle one right here, Align Horizontal Centers, which goes ahead and centers the sky. And to confirm that's the case, just Control-click or Command-click on the thumbnail for the clouds layer. And it's very important you Control or Command-click on the image thumbnail, not the layer mask thumbnail. And as you can see, everything's nice and centered. Now I want to scoot the sky up a little bit. So I'm going to Control-click or Command-click on the layer mask for the sky layer down here at the bottom of the stack. And with the Move tool still selected, I'll go up here to these options, which are the vertical alignment options, by the way. So the first set, align the layer vertically. The second set, align the layer horizontally. And I'm going to click on this guy right here, Align Bottom Edges. All right, this is looking pretty good, but it's not really exactly the effect I'm looking for. So I'll press Control-D or Command-D on the Mac to deselect the image. That's very important. Now I want to flip the image. Recall that scaling and rotating and flipping are all transformations. So I'll go over to the Edit menu and choose Free Transform, or I can press Control-T or Command-T on the Mac, and then I'll right-click on the clouds and I'll choose Flip Horizontal in order to produce this effect here. And I also want to scoot the clouds up a little bit. So I'm going to press Shift Up arrow a bunch of times to nudge them so that one cloud right there, can you see it? I want it to go away. I want it to tuck up beyond the top of the canvas. So I'm going to continue to take this guy up to about there. And notice that I now have an X value, if you check out these center coordinates, an X value of 1480 pixels and a Y value of 200 pixels, which is exactly what I'm looking for, at which point I'll press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac in order to accept that change. All right, now just to set off the clouds a little more, I'm going to darken my Mars-shaped moon by clicking on a Mars layer here inside the Layers panel, and then I'll go to the Window menu and choose Adjustments to bring up the Adjustments panel, and I'll press the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac, and I'll click on Brightness Contrast in order to name the layer as I create it, and I'm just going to go ahead and call this guy Darker and click OK. And I'll decrease the brightness value by pressing Shift down arrow to -50, and I'll crank that contrast value all the way up to its maximum. And notice that I'm affecting all layers below this adjustment layer, which is not what I want. I just want to affect the Mars layer and nothing more. So I'm turning this layer on and off so that you can see it's affecting everything in the background. The problem was I forgot to turn on that checkbox that allows me to clip the adjustment layer to the layer below it, but I do have this icon right there in the lower left corner of the Properties panel. And notice that it's telling us that currently this adjustment affects all layers below, and I need to click on the icon to clip the layer, which is what I'm going to do. And watch what happens. Now we're affecting the Mars layer and nothing more. At which point I'll go ahead and hide that Properties panel. And that is how you introduce, align, and flip the clouds so that they integrate with our fantastic sky here inside Photoshop.